Quote, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years from now, Leonidas declared, men 100 generations yet unborn may, for their private purposes, make journey to our country of Sparta. Quote, they will come, scholars perhaps, or travelers from beyond the sea, prompted by curiosity regarding the past or appetite for knowledge of the ancients. They will peer out across the plain and probe among the stone and rubble of our nation. What will they learn of us? Their shovels will unearth neither brilliant palaces nor temples. Their picks will bring forth no everlasting architecture or art. What will remain of the Spartans? Not monuments of marble or bronze, but this, what we do here today. I beg of you, let me read that one more time. What will remain of the Spartans? Not monuments of marble or bronze, but this, what we do here today. Now, eat a good meal, men, for we all will be sharing dinner in Hades. This was titled The Greatest Motivational Speech Ever by Leonidas, King of Sparta. Many great ones have fought for the coming of a new age of freedom, liberation, where happiness can be found, where ones can express themselves, shine bright like the sun, where great ones can rise of wisdom, and they can emanate brilliance. They ask nothing in return, but they give all, they give much. Where the lovers can experience love in its pure state, even devoid of physicality. Where the mothers and fathers can raise their families in peace. We seek the new, we build the new. We need to not wait on anyone to do it. It begins in the mind. It begins in the home, the peace. A kingdom of freedom. We build that. Here is where it begins. But us warriors, we will be remembered for what we do here, now, in these time periods. We all must walk our own path. I hope the best for all of you out there, especially you warriors. Warriors, I know it can be lonely. It can be sad. But we steel our hearts and we move forward anyway. We move forward. We continue to exercise the mind, build the mind, learn and grow in wisdom. We bring peace everywhere that we step. But make no mistake about it, there is no weakness in us, for we are ready to defend at a moment's notice. But peace yet we bring everywhere we set our sights. We are the last of the lions that make our own way, call our own shots. We build for ourselves. The food we put in our mouths, we have earned by the sweat of our own brows. And with that, freedom to earn, to build. We are able, if we should choose, to pave the path to a brighter future. Any of you is capable of being great. You have it in you. It's not something anyone can tell you, not even I. You have to unveil it for yourselves, but the greatness is there. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are, how old or how young you are. matters not. The greatness is in there, but it is for you to uncover and unveil your brilliance. You must recognize it within yourself. It is not something that can be externalized or verified by an external source. Only you know your brilliance. I know it's there. Shine. Roar. Let the world hear your power. Let the world gaze upon your brilliance. Go out there and be great. Go forth, great ones, and be great. I know there's many of you out there in this as subscribers here. No, I will not call you such a thing. I call you the great ones. You are the legend. You are the great ones. I give the glory to you. The power is in your hands. There's nothing you cannot conquer. There's nothing you cannot change. You'd be surprised how powerful the voice of one can be. You can change the world you are. I wonder what you will make. So, with that being said, let's get into the first article here. I know I laid on you heavy, but I don't give you anything that you can't handle. I know you can handle it. There's a few chosen ones out there. Heck, maybe the whole lot of you. You are the future. Right now, you make the future. I know to who I speak. Continue to do good. Shine your light. Cast away the darkness. I believe in you. I do. 100%. I have no doubts. There's no doubt in a person like myself. Because I know my destiny. I have already mapped it out. Let's go here. First articles on zcrypto.com. All right. How you doing out there? You feeling good out there, everybody? You doing well? I hope you are. I know you are. You're strong. I know you are. Let's continue on here. And if you feel even in a moment of weakness, know that Alpha Neem is there with you. In your times where you feel down, raise yourself up. We're both there. Raise yourself up. Times you may lack belief, no, steel your heart and believe. Just know both of us are there. I'm sending myself out there in spirit, if you will. And let us stand. Brothers and sisters, let us stand. Do not be plunged into sorrow. Rise up. Believe. You will feel better. A sunny day will come once more. Good times will come again. But Alpha Neem is there with you. No matter what, I'm there with you. Rise up, great ones. Rise. Rise, great ones. Rise. It's your time. Here we go. This is from zcrypto.com. According to defense lawyer James K. Fallon, a summary judgment in the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit might come sooner than expected. I can't wait. This week, the former federal prosecutor noted that the judge was likely to consolidate most of the pending issues for determination in one ruling. Seems logical to me. I would do the same thing. Let's get all this over with all at one time. That's how I would feel. And I believe the judge is on that vibration right now. The court has to decide on 3 major issues before issuing the final verdict. These are the summary judgment motions, expert motion challenges, and sealing issues regarding expert reports, the Hinman reports, and other records presented by the SEC. Quote, why would Judge Torres slog through the expert motions and the sealing motions, including the sealing of the Hinman documents, separately before deciding what parts of them, if any, are relevant to deciding the summary judgment motion? Asked Fallon, unquote. Quote, I believe that she will decide everything together. Remember, this is just this individual's beliefs. It does not mean it's going to happen. There's no guarantees, but we can hope. And obviously, he's making these assumptions based on what he has experienced in the courtroom, right? So here it is. Let's continue here. Quote, I believe that she will decide everything together. and it won't be until she rules on the motions of summary judgment, and it will be one big written ruling, he added. Referencing, okay, he has a reference here, referencing a case involving Goldman Sachs, where Judge Torres addressed the same issues in one ruling. Now that is interesting. Lawsuit nears end as parties file final submissions. On Friday, December 2nd, both parties filed redacted replies to each other's opposition to motions for summary judgment. According to Ripple's motion, the SEC's opposition brief confirmed that the defendant's motion for summary judgment should be granted. Quote, the SEC cannot show that any offer or sale of XRP, much less everyone, from 2013 to 2020, as it alleges, bears the burden to demonstrate was an offer or sale of, quote, an investment contract and therefore a security under the federal securities law. We've been saying this for a long time. Many astute and wise individuals have said this. Let's just hope that the courts see it that way as well. So far, everything has gone well. Maybe it will continue that way, right? So now let's continue on to another article here. Now we have this article here, and it's titled, XRP price poised for a 13% leap if it keeps steady on this route. This is from newsbtc.com. Make sure you check them out. They're doing a great job over there. Let's read this little tidbit here. It says, XRP, the 7th largest cryptocurrency with more than 19.74 billion market capitalization, appears to be poised for a healthy surge. Unfortunately for traders, investors, or prospective buyers of the crypto asset, this upward movement will be temporary, and the bears are expected to take control shortly after the altcoin registers an uptick in its price. I don't think anyone who is a true investor in XRP is going to care about that at all. We're waiting on an explosion that is soon to come. Well, we believe it is with the ending of this case. An explosion. That's what they're waiting on. And then at that point, I believe people are only going to liquidate just a tiny little bit of XRP if they're wise, because XRP is going to go much higher than that initial explosion. In my humble opinion, that's not financial advice. All right. So, yeah, I don't think anyone but day traders, if anyone is actually day trading XRP, and they probably a few people are. But I think most of the individuals who are involved in XRP are long-term investors. A lot of people who are going to just hold XRP and use it outright. I don't think I think a lot of individuals are not going to be cashing out XRP into the dollar, especially considering what could happen to the dollar in the future. The dollar can be greatly diminished. It can be destroyed. So that's something you have to keep an eye on and know what's going on with the rest of the world, not just the BRICS nations, but mainly them. And right now there is a big battle going on. It's continuing. It's just in other realms. Like, for instance, we're going to cover an article later about oil. There's a lot of battles going on. So and as that happens, the rest of the world is getting a much more sour taste in their mouths, so to speak, for the West. Times change, things change. Change is the only constant. You have to be prepared for change in case anything happens. Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. So anyway, continuing on here. XRP has already lost almost 14% of its value over the last 30 days. Inconsequential. I'm adding that. That's inconsequential. The altcoin could jump all the way to 44-cent level. Also inconsequential. Whales have already moved over 150 million XRP tokens. That is significant. Every single movement we see like this is significant. Is someone somewhere who knows the truth about XRP getting prepared, getting ready? I think most of us are already ready. We're ready, but we're over preparing because we want enough for generations to come. So your great grandchildren, don't have to worry about anything. That's the idea, right? Technical indicators slightly favor XRP. So this is all very, very good. Okay, so now let's move on to another article here. Now this one here is about Algorand. Algorand continues to dominate. They just ended their Decipher event. A lot of big news coming out of there, will be coming out of there. You see, everyone's very excited about it. But here's a little article on medium.com and it's titled, Algorand's new unlimited smart contract storage. Unlimited. Algorand is winning across the board. Right now, I think they're the most dominant of the bank coin families, of the bank coin companies. Let's read this little tidbit here. It says, the developers I work with sometimes say anything's possible to build. Quote, unquote. This is a thrilling aspect of software development and one of the big reasons people fall in love with programming. It allows you to build whatever you can imagine. Unfortunately, blockchain engineers are more likely to say anything's possible to build, but it's hard, but it's risky, but it's going to be expensive to run. Smart contracts in blockchain are a nascent technology. They fulfill their primary goal of allowing people to build distributed applications, but it remains a challenging path to true success. For these reasons, many supposedly decentralized applications in blockchain are unfortunately reliant on off-chain services for part of their implementation. The birth of Web 2.5 rather than Web 3.0 as the world inches its way towards true decentralization. AVM 8 release. Our latest release of the AVM is no exception. We have introduced a new flexible form of storage for smart contracts. Boxes. We've heard them talking about this extensively over the last few weeks. A smart contract can create as many boxes as it needs, of the size that it needs, up to 32K. When it needs them. For example, let's say Alice wants to offer an Oracle service for token prices. She creates a smart contract that users can call to get a token's current price. Given the ever-expanding set of tokens available on Algorand, whether native or bridged over, Alice's Oracle contract will need an increasing amount of persistent storage over time. Boxes are the perfect solution. Alice's smart contract allocates one box per token it tracks. So Algorand continues to innovate, continues to expand, continues to advance and dominate. I am very happy with Algorand and being a holder of Algo. Simple as that, man. I love everything that they're doing. So now let's continue on to another article here, okay? So then we have this massive news when it comes to Algorand that, listen, my goodness, Algorand is dominating. There's nothing else, there's nothing more I can really say to express my excitement. Listen to this. And those who know. It says, excited to see this come to Algo. Hashtag AlgoFam, ready for something different? Announcing at Next Gens by Lil Durk. What? Lil Durk. This, at one time, I think this was maybe like a year or two ago before NBA Youngboy, if you know anything about rap and hip hop. Before NBA Youngboy became like the top selling young rapper. These are very young people, okay? Lil Durk was the #1 selling rapper, the most popular, had the most views on YouTube and all of that type of stuff. This is huge. This is insane amount of advertising we're about to get. Promotion, not that way. Promotion, advertising, however you want to say it. This could be massive, like one of the most massive happenings. So let's take a look at this here. Announcing at Next Gens by Lil Durk. You can tell I'm excited a little bit, right? Not your typical NFT collection. Of course it's not. You have one of the biggest music artists on the planet. And let me go back to what I was saying before. So at the time where they have these rankings where they say like NBA Youngboy's the #1 music artist or Lil Durk, notice music artist, not just rapper. The rap genre of music has taken over as the #1 form of music. I believe that happened recently. So when they say that, they're talking about the #1 musician overall. Now, my interest in that obviously is just the fact that this is going to get more people possibly in the future as this grows. Of course, I don't expect it to happen overnight, but this could possibly bring more eyes to Algorand, more users to Algorand than almost anything else has so far. This is some of the best promotion we're ever going to get. Let's continue on here. It says real physical sneakers plus digital collectibles. This is on Algorand. They're making major moves. And the youth, they listen to these music artists like on every level. The music artist says, wear this clothing or walk this way or dress this way. These youth listen to these individuals. I don't suggest doing that. They're just music artists. But that's how the youth do. They're influenced heavily by these people they believe to be celebrities and stars. So that's really good. What's happening on Algorand, not the other stuff I was saying. Make your own decisions. Don't follow anyone. That's how I feel. I think most of the great people throughout ancient times, the wise ones, have always told everyone to follow no one. I think even the Buddha on his deathbed told everyone, you can look this up, and I believe that the last Buddha, of course, there's been many Buddhas, but the last Buddha, Gautama, said, don't follow no one. Right? So I'm more of that mind state. Let's continue on here. So then we have this, a little bit of stellar news, okay? This is written by Denelle Dixon. It was tweeted out by Cointelegraph. It says Congress should begin by defining securities versus commodities. And it should require that stable coins actually be stable. That I agree with. But here's the problem they're going to run into with that way of thinking. Stable coins are pegged to what? The dollar, correct? Okay. Now, stable coins are pegged to the dollar. What happens if the dollar crashes? What happens in this volatile financial system? Well, I think we did cover the banks. That was in a regular subscriber video we did, I believe, when we talked about Credit Suisse, or was that in the members only video? I can't remember. I really can't. But anyway, the legacy financial system is doing very bad right now. They're just not talking about it in the news media because they own the news media. The news media takes so much money behind the scenes, allegedly. They're not going to talk about that. They don't talk about anything serious. They point the finger at anything that is outside the matrix, so to speak. So they point the finger at crypto. They point the finger at individuals who, are rebels and don't want to listen to and bow down to the mainstream groupthink way of thinking, of operating. But they don't talk about the legacy system. But and not only is the legacy banking system doing terribly, but then, like I continue to say, you have them in contention with the BRICS nations who are trying to destroy the dollar. It's as simple as that. That's what it is. As simple as that. De-dollarization is removing the status of world reserve currency from the dollar. Slowly, but it's happening. So then what happens to your stable coin? If the dollar goes down, your stable coin does as well. So then what does it do to value? I'm going a little too far. I got to save some stuff. I was about to go somewhere with that thought that I'm going to cover in the members only section. But you get where I'm going with that? So even when you're talking stable coins, none of them truly are safe. And when you talk about one-to-one backed stable coins, they're only as safe as the dollar is. They're only as strong as the dollar, which is something to keep an eye on. Something I'm going to keep an eye on. I don't put my absolute trust in anything except my own mind. And then I keep an eye on everything and I make sure there's not external influences swaying my mind this way and that. So then that obviously takes, I have to put in the work to strengthen my mind and make sure that it's impenetrable and not in an ignorant way, because my mind is always going to be open to wisdom. But it's not open to everything, because if you're open to everything, then you're open to damage, you're open to negativities, you're open to ignorance, and I will take none of that in. Not going to happen, right? So there's a balance to the way that I think and see things. So let's go here. Okay, so now let's read a little bit of what Denelle Dixon had to say. It says, as a crypto CEO, I know how often our sector is misunderstood and criticized. Sometimes the criticism is deserved, because we have not always done our part to shine a light on the utility and use cases powering positive change. Well, also, I want to add in there that the mainstream media has done a great job of conflating and congealing all of crypto together. So when people say Bitcoin, they think Bitcoin, they think every crypto is Bitcoin. When the mainstream media says crypto is bad, they don't think, well, there's some offerings that are smart contract platforms, some that are store of value. They don't think that. They don't think some are bank coins specifically used by banks. They don't think that. They think everything is Bitcoin because they've been brainwashed with that. They've been inundated with that for so long. So the legacy media has done its job to muddy the waters. So no matter how much you bring up utility, the commoner just doesn't have enough time to learn about that, to listen to that. It's not going to be on the mainstream news every night. You're not on the news every night. So that's one of the problems, right? But we're trying to combat it. It says, but other times it's based on the assumption that all players in this industry are the same. That's exactly what I was just saying. Thank you, Denelle Dixon, for being honest, for being upfront, for being a hard worker. I appreciate your work. And see, stuff like this brings respect. That the fact that I was just saying that, and then she said the exact same thing. I did not read this beforehand at all. I'm reading this on the spot. I just saw the headline, and then I just go off the top of the head, freestyle. But I respect that because that was the truth. So it says here, but other times it's based on the assumption that all players in this industry are the same, which is just not true. Thank you, Denelle Dixon. And see, in Denelle Dixon, she's one of the main reasons. This individual is one of the main reasons that we're able to bring in so many good deals, big deals, and move in and out of meetings with governments. It's a big part of it, a big part, not all of it, but a big part of it is because of individuals like Denelle Dixon, Stacey Warden, Brad Garlinghouse. These people are winners, and they're ferocious and hungry for the victory, and they're honest, sometimes brutally honest, but I like that. I want the nasty medicine that's going to heal everything and do good, rather than have some watered down, sugary type of thing. I'm speaking metaphorically, obviously. Sugary medicine that is weaker, and we're going to get nowhere. You understand what I'm saying? Let's continue on here. Just give it to me raw. Give it to us straight. Let's get somewhere. Let's move. Let's not spin our wheels and stay stuck in the spot. Let's go forward. Denelle Dixon knows how to go forward. I like that. Recently, skepticism reached new heights with the epic crash of FTX, one of the largest crypto exchanges. We know all of that. Many may wonder if there is a future for crypto. Of course it is. And I understand the frustration with the hole the industry has created. There was a hole dug for it. There was a hole. They set the industry up. They knew that that man was doing a whole lot of bad, and they allowed it. They allowed it. Then you look at certain other mechanisms that were involved, like things that happened with another big exchange that then made that exchange very bitter, only for that exchange to come out and tip over the house of cards on FTX. Who put those exchanges in contention, right? Who allowed all of that crazy behavior? Who is continuing to allow no regulation right now? They dug a hole for crypto. But us Bankcoin holders are not affected by that. Bankcoin blockchains continue forward. We continue to grow, and we will be the last one standing, and there will be a new age that will dawn. But let's continue on here. The real question is how we build the future we want that inspired the development of this technology in the first place. Well, I can say it's not going to be acquiescent to the legacy system. That's not going to help. The same legacy system that has allowed the world to be on fire for so long, so to speak, is going to set fire to everything else as well. They don't know what they're doing. It's as simple as that. So here, continue on. And that answer relies in large part on standards, both technical and industry-wide, and rules, some of which need to come from our public officials, of course. The United States federal government is positioned to lead, but they have not, Denelle. They have not. That's questionable. We hope that they will. But what's going to force them? A collapse will force them. It looks like we're heading towards a possible collapse. I will hope not. The people are going to suffer, but they don't need to. They can institute the new financial system and everything will be okay. Let's hope they don't wait too long. And if they do institute the new financial system, well, you know what's going to happen, right? Raise the tone. Says to do so, it needs to give the industry clarity and guidance, both of which we don't have now, by implementing thoughtful, principles-based regulation. This is the type of leadership that will help shape the right future. And with a newly elected Congress, it is a charge I am urging them to take up. We'll see. We'll see. In this day and age, the political figures, unfortunately, I hate that it's this way, but the political figures are very, very ignorant. You can always tell when an individual is very ignorant, they get very, very emotional. And see, now there is an emotion that's under control and is being used as a tool. But then there's this wanton emotion that's reckless and destructive. They have that. They have that. They have no solutions. All they know is to rely on stoking the fires of their constituents' emotions. And that's all they know. That's it. On all those different sides. That's all they know. They don't really have the intelligence or the fire in their belly or motivation. It doesn't benefit them either to empower the people. They're more of the energy of stepping on the people to get up, to get a leg up, step on the heads of the people to get to a higher level. They're not really the individuals that understand a rising tide raises all ships. So how can that be remedied? There's ways to remedy that, but we'll see if the people are willing to actually take those steps. The future of blockchain and all of the benefits it offers depends on it. That is very true. But however, I will say this, and I hate to say it, I really do. There's a lot of tough things, tough pathways, but there's always a way outside the United States. If the United States allows its ship to sink, the rest of the world can still thrive. The rest of the world can still institute all of the bank coin systems, and the bank coins would still take off. But as we've heard from many institutions outside the United States, a lot of them are waiting on regulation in the United States because the United States has so much power and you cannot just do what you want, even if you're not a part of the United States, because you'll step on their toes. And if you step on their toes, they're going to make you pay. They're going to make you pay. You think not? Look at what happened in China. When China and United States were having that Taiwan issue, they removed a lot. The United States came in and removed a lot of their scientists that were working on different computer chips and semiconductors. And that was very injurious to China. So once again, if you don't play by the rules that the United States wants to set, they will punish you. It doesn't matter who you are. The fact they did that against China tells you it doesn't matter who you are. All right? That's why I say what I say. Got to give you some proof and stuff, or else people might not believe you. The industry must do its part to act transparently and in the best interest of consumers, despite the absence of regulation. But without oversight, we will continue to see examples of businesses failing to put consumers' interests first. That's why I am calling on Congress to pass 3 key measures in 2023 to provide consumers with the protections they need. Woo! Ooh, okay. All right, Denelle. Denelle's taking the fight to them. This is going to get interesting. This is going to get very, very interesting. I back it 100%. I'm going to do some reaching out myself, just throw my tiny little weight around. I'm going to say that because I'm being humble. But I'm definitely going to make my presence felt for sure. I back this 100%. It says first, clarify, here we go. She's going to elaborate on this. First, clarify the definition of the legal status of digital assets. When are digital assets classified as securities, commodities, or something in between? And how is that defined? Who defines it? That's going to be key. It is the government's role to make this clear for both large and small participants. Well, government hasn't been doing much as of late. I'll just leave it at that. And not just pretend that clarity exists, because consumers are the ones losing. Everyone's losing right now. Well, not really everyone. I mean, as far as the new financial system not being instituted and so many people being hurt by inflation, and we can solve and there's a liquidity crisis. We can solve some of these issues very easily with the new financial system. But I will say that the bank coin holders are definitely winning, and holy smokes, they're over preparing. So there's that. Second, require stable coins to be stable. We already talked about that before. They're never going to be that. Not as long as you have fiat currency. You can't run around with a pretend currency. You can't. All right? And you can't. Third, digital. I mean, you have been. look how terrible everything has gotten. It's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. It's logical. You can't continue to print excessive amounts of money. Then you took it out. You're taking money out of the economy with your interest rate hikes. But at the same time, you're pretending to be afraid because now people are going to lose their jobs and you're going into deceleration. You can't have it both ways. That cannot continue. So third, digital asset exchanges. As we have seen, consumers are exposed to risks. Then the banks have the same policy. A lot of them. I don't know if all of them do. A lot of them. We covered that in one of the last videos, I believe, where if they go to court or something or go bankrupt, they're going to claim your assets as their own. Just like Coinbase or whoever that was said the same thing. So centralized exchanges and banks are very, very similar in nature. All right. So, I mean, you're talking about exposure, but listen, it's like I say, hold the legacy system accountable just like you're going to hold crypto accountable. Treat them the same. Everyone's treating the banks like they're infallible, like they're perfect, as though they don't operate the same way or worse than exchanges. Exchanges are backing their stuff with people's actual value that they work for, right? The banks are doing what? Taking value out of people's accounts, using that to make money, trying to flip money. That sounds pretty similar to something that happened recently, doesn't it? All right. And then the banks are utilizing what? Fiat, fictional money, pretend money. It says here, I see certain parallels with blockchain, the new emerging technology. It's critical that the ecosystems developing the products and services built upon this technology continue to work alongside the public sector to craft the regulations that will bring clarity and safeguards. I know the limitless potential of blockchain and am eager to help forge the public-private partnerships necessary to secure more stability across the industry. In other words, she is ready to make more deals than ever, but can't because there's no regulatory clarity, and businesses are not willing to step in until there is regulatory clarity. Same thing the head of SBI Remit said. Everybody's on the side. The same thing those 3 different articles over the last month and a half that we read was talking about also. Institutions are on the side waiting to get in. So now let's continue on here. A little bit of oil news here, okay? Russia will not export oil subject to Western price cap. I had an article. I don't know if I covered it in the video. There's so many articles I leave out. It was a few days back when they first launched these price caps. And I was reading about that and I said to myself, I said, wait a minute. I don't think Russia's going to go for that. Then on top of that, how do you take this type of action? I think I was reading about it somewhere in Europe. They were talking about this, right? Or was it the European Union? Something like that. But anyway, it triggered the thought in me. How do you do that? And you need Russian oil. Like what? Why would you do that? You're going to offend them even more. Then they're not going to want to give you oil. Then your people are going to be suffering. That was my first thought. So then if you're taking actions like that that are injurious to your own people, if I were your people, I'd be questioning your leadership. 100%. There's no way I'm letting my family stay there. There's no way I'm letting my family stay there. And you're taking steps that are injurious to us and we're going to suffer. Meanwhile, you're living in a mansion that's fully heated because you can get fuel by other means. Let's read this little tidbit here because it might get a little crazy. Let's just read this a little bit. It says Russia will not export oil that is subject to a Western imposed price cap, even if Moscow has to accept a drop in oil production. President of Redacted. Oh, the president of Redacted's point man on energy said on Sunday, quote, we are working on mechanisms to prohibit the use of a price cap instrument, regardless of what level is set, because such interference could further destabilize the market. Remember, the West has no, apparently, even though the West people need oil need coal and things like that. Oh, they definitely need it. How many of you right now had to gas up your car to go drive here and there, right? But I'm not saying this in correlation with Russia directly, but the West seems to be against oil outright, even though their own people still need it. I don't know, man. That is strange. There's some strange stuff going on. I'm telling you right now. And I know what they say, the reasons as to why and such. I know what they say. That's not going to stop them from flying on their private jet. Is it? No, they flew to all those meetings and the G20 recently. They flew on a nice private jet. That private jet uses more fuel, puts more pollutants in the air than your little car could ever do. Right? All in one time. One flight. And so anyway, I'm just saying that there's something awry there. There's something going on there. A little deeper than what it might seem. Anyway, let's continue on here. It says Russia will not operate under a price cap, even if Moscow has to cut production. On Friday, G7 nations and Australia agreed. Wow, this is going to get crazy, and that's crazy. Well, let's continue on here. On Friday, G7 nations and Australia agreed a $60 per barrel price cap on redacted seaborne crude oil in a move to deprive redacted of revenue while keeping Russian oil flowing to global markets. All right. Listen, first of all, we also read an article recently where India is going to be buying more oil than ever. So that could be offset. Then once again, keep in mind, they're doing all of this to these BRICS nation people. BRICS nations are all huddled together. Keep that in mind. So if you're going to damage them, why would eventually they not take action to damage you? Think about that for a minute when you're thinking about the dollar. Think about that for a minute when you're thinking about the dollar. The dollar is vulnerable. It's almost like they want them to collapse the dollar. Hey. Trying to put the message out there. I hope nothing happens, but I'm just saying, I'm trying to put the message out there. People better be careful of that dollar that they've been worshiping all this time. They better be careful. This is crazy. Anyway, it's this continuous escalation. There's no de-escalation in any of these people's blood, man. Let's cover a little bit of OPEC news. They just had the OPEC meeting today. We were looking for an update there. And it says, OPEC and its allies vowed on Sunday to stand ready to take immediate action to stabilize global oil markets a day ahead of the start of sweeping new Western restrictions on Russian oil exports. OPEC Plus, which is led by Saudi Arabia and Russia, decided not to make any immediate changes to the group's production targets, but said that the oil producers cartel was ready to, they always use that word, cartel was ready to, quote, meet at any time and could, quote, take immediate additional measures. The group's online meeting came a day ahead of what will be one of the most dramatic shifts in global oil markets in decades, when the EU will bar seaborne Russian oil imports in retaliation for Moscow's invasion of, at the same time, I can't put all certain words together. YouTube, yeah, I'm going to be very careful with that. At the same time, G7 leaders have agreed to launch a so-called price cap that aims to keep Russian oil flowing to countries such as India. Is India, could have sworn India said they were going to buy as much oil as they wanted to. Let me read that again. At the same time, G7 leaders have agreed to launch a so-called price cap that aims to keep Russian oil flowing to countries such as India and China to avoid creating widespread shortages. There's something I'm not understanding. My apologies. But only if the crude, how would that affect, how would what they're doing affect China? I'm not understanding. Hasn't Russia dealt with China directly? I don't know. Maybe there's something I'm missing here. My apologies, everyone. I would never claim to know everything. OK, right. I'm still learning. Always going to be that way. I think all wise ones will continue to learn into the future. I am as well. But only if the crude is sold at less than $60 a barrel to crimp Moscow's revenues. It's about to get very crazy, but I don't understand. India and China, like, dude, they don't have to go along with what you're saying. And then you're doing this in retaliation. Wouldn't they also then retaliate against you? Quote, if markets move adversely, OPEC Plus will intervene, said Christian Malik at JP Morgan. Quote, it has made clear it wants to balance the market proactively and preemptively. Russia has repeatedly said it will not sell any oil to countries utilizing the cap, and has instead quietly set about acquiring more than 100 oil tankers to form a shadow fleet of vessels to try and keep its oil flowing despite the Western restrictions. But traders still expect Russia's oil exports to fall in the coming months, as it is probably short of tankers and may struggle to find enough new buyers outside the EU. Russian Deputy Prime Minister Alexander Novak reiterated on Sunday that Moscow would not export oil that was subject to any Western imposed price cap. Quote, even if we have to cut production somewhat, quote, we will sell oil and petroleum products to those countries that will work with us on market terms, even if we have to cut production somewhat. This is what I'm saying. Like, a lot of those countries over there still need oil from them, right? Like, for instance, you had the pipeline that was going to, was it feeding to Germany? Then they had issues with that pipeline. I don't remember. I don't know what, I don't know what came of that, if they repaired it or what. But it was supposed to have a great impact on Germany for the coming winter, right? So their people were going to suffer because of such. Now, just imagine that they can't get any oil at all. At all. I mean, I don't know. Let's move on to another article. All right. My goodness, man, this world, man, it's insane right now. But we're going to make it. That's what we always make it. So now here, let's cover this little bit of futures news, okay? Speculators pair net shorts on U.S. 10-year, 2-year note futures, CFTC. Speculators trimmed net bearish bets on U.S. 10-year and 2-year Treasury note futures in the latest week. According to the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, data released on Friday, net short position in U.S. 10-year futures fell to 296,772 contracts in the week ended November 29th, compared with 321,256 net shorts in the previous week, according to the CFTC's latest commitments of traders' data. On the shorter end of the curve, net short positioning on U.S. 2-year note futures slid to 512,178 from net shorts of 566,995 the week before. The decline in net short positions, or bets that Treasury prices will fall, leading to a rise in yields, was in line with expectations that the Federal Reserve will slow the pace of its rate hikes as it tries to engineer a softer landing for the world's largest economy. On Wednesday, Fed Chair Jerome Powell said the U.S. Central Bank could ease the pace of interest rate hikes as soon as December. Yep, and then that data came out. So we're going to see if they stick to that. So now that we have that news there, let's end off with a little bit of gold news, because gold always makes me feel better, right? Somebody out there's like, yeah, you know what? Gold does make me feel better also. Let's cover some gold. Yeah, let's cover some gold. So let's go here. So I was saying before, the people at the top know what's about to happen, in my humble opinion. They know that the shift, there's like a little gap. I believe there's going to be a little gap in between the ending of the legacy system or the fall of it. You see, they have to, in my humble opinion, they have to let it fall a little bit so the people suffer enough where they're just gonna accept CBDCs, right? They're just gonna accept the new financial system. That's what they want. They have to let the people suffer a little bit, or else if the people don't suffer a little bit, they're gonna reject the CBDC. You see a lot of people question that system, and they should. But if you let the people suffer, now people have to pay bills. They're a little hungry. The dollar's greatly diminished. Then when you come in with that system, that solution, even though they kind of cause the problem, but it's always like that, right? They cause the problem, then they come in with a solution. It'll make it easier for them to accept. It's like right now, for example, I may hand you a cup of water. It may have a little bit of dirt in it, right? You're like, yeah, I don't want that. But if you had to cross a desert for 2 days straight and you're exhausted, dehydrated, and then I hand you that same glass of water, you will probably accept it openly. You're just going to guzzle that down. Struggle changes everything for many people. Not everyone, but for many people. So anyway, because of that, I think that they're all stocking up on gold massively because of that. It has real value. It doesn't change. The value doesn't change by much. Mongolia's central bank purchases. This came out on December the 4th. It's recent. Everything we've been covering is recent. Mongolia's central bank purchases nearly 20 tons of gold. Whoa! 20 tons of gold. Mongolia's central bank has purchased a total of 19.9 tons of gold in the first 11 months of this year from legal entities and individuals. As of November, the Bank of Mongolia's average gold purchase price had been 197,000 Mongolian tugriks. That's approximately 57.7 US dollars per gram. The bank said in a statement, purchasing gold is one of the key ways for central banks to ensure their country's economic stability. Exactly. Because they know their fiat is worth nothing. See what I'm talking about? All that fake stuff, all that fiat and SDR nonsense. No, it comes down to gold. It comes down to gold. Economic, let's just say financial stability comes down to gold right now in the world. Let me read it again. Purchasing gold is one of the key ways for the central bank to ensure the country's economic stability. So then what should that mean to individuals? Should not individuals also ensure their financial stability? You see, they're not going to promote gold anywhere. We talk about gold here. They're not going to promote gold anywhere, right? And a lot of bank coins. I said this last year. I think a lot of bank coins will be backed by gold, silver, things of that nature. It's a great possibility. We talked about that last year when we really broke down and uncovered all of the SDR information and how the IMF began sort of like how Ripple did, right? And how they came out with the SDR, sort of like how what Ripple was trying to do with XRP. We covered all of that extensively, right? And how the SDR is backed by a certain amount of grams of gold, right? Allegedly is pegged to that, allegedly, right? We covered all of that extensively. Mongolia's foreign exchange reserves fell to $2.8 billion at the end of October, down 36% from the beginning of this year. Here's another website. This is from MacauBusiness.com, okay? We've read this from other websites like Metals Daily and such. Listen to what they say. Central banks across the world typically hold gold as part of their foreign exchange reserves. The Mongolian central bank has set a goal to purchase at least 24 tons of gold in 2022. I thought they were going to say that the central banks across the world have been buying up an exorbitant amount of gold, an outlandish amount of gold this year. And they have been continuously. It's very interesting. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.